Do high school basketball rankings really matter? I'm 50-50 on it. It matters in some circumstances as to where if you're ranked in the top 50, you're probably pretty well known throughout the country and on the circuit that you play on. This means that most of the high major Division One coaches in the country will come to see you play. And even if you aren't that good, you might get a scholarship anyway based off your ranking. But every year you hear about the guys who fall through the cracks. Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, Jimmy Butler. Even Dwayne Wade wasn't ranked in the top 100 in his class. Most recently, people have heard about Duncan Robinson, who after high school went to prep school for a year and then committed to D3 Williams College. And no disrespect to Division III basketball players at all. There's a lot of guys that are playing Division III who are better than guys playing Division I. It's just sometimes they don't get the recognition that other players get. But how does Duncan Robinson, who is now one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA, go so unnoticed that he had to play Division III for a year? But that takes me back to my point. Do high school basketball rankings really matter? It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I graduated in high school in 2015, and there were only 8 guys in the NBA from that class that were ranked in the top 25. And the only 3 that are well known are Ben Simmons, Jalen Brown, and Brandon Ingram. With this being said, I'm super excited to welcome Elijah Hughes to the podcast. Elijah and I were teammates the past 3 years, and coming out of high school, he was not ranked in the top 100. He went under-recruited, initially committed to Eastern Carolina and played one season there before committing to Syracuse University. This past season, he was first team all ACC, should have been ACC Player of the Year, and was a top 5 player in the country for Syracuse. Elijah, how's it going? Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
What's good, bro? I'm all right, just cooling, chilling, trying to stay safe.
I feel you. So let's get into it. How are you? How have you been? What have you been doing during this quarantine to, try and stay in shape and keep your basketball skills, up to par?
Well, number one, I'm good. I'm healthy. All my loved ones are good and healthy. I've been working out every day. I'm on a lifting schedule, trying to change my diet around, stretching, just taking care of my body more and doing more as I can throughout this quarantine. There's a lot of uncertainties right now, but the one thing I can control is trying to stay in shape, trying to just stay sharp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it's an extremely weird time for you in particular. Any other year, you'd be in Vegas right now playing in the NBA Summer League, actually. If it was, a normal year and all this things weren't going on with the COVID-19 and things like that. So with no team workouts, potentially no combine, maybe just a draft in October or November is what they're saying. Can you just talk to me about the NBA process right now and, with everything going on, what have you been hearing is going to happen and just how can you, stay ready for that?
Right. I just been trying to control the controllables. And that's really the only things I can control is, trying to stay in shape, which I'm running a lot, trying to keep my diet, working out. And I'm just going to try to let everything else fall into place. I don't really know what's going to happen because it's a time of uncertainty with everything going on. But, as long as I can keep controlling the controllables and things should I'm just going to let things play out how it does.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard? So I think they might be trying to do a combine. But no workouts, right? Is that what you've been hearing?
Yeah, I've heard a multitude of things.
Yeah.
I've heard the opposite of that. I heard what you just said. I've heard a gazillion things. So, it's just really like you said, a time of uncertainty. And it's kind of stressful and frustrating, but, I'm just, trusting the process.
Right. So you recently signed with Excel, one of the best agencies, one of the most respected agencies, especially for basketball players. So there's rumors going around lately that you're probably going to fall in the first round, late first round, if not early second round. I've said on Twitter and I'll say it again on the podcast that Elijah Hughes will be the steal of the 2020 NBA draft. But what have you heard? What has your agent heard? Are you guys able to be in contact with teams or not really, just because they're in Disney right now, trying to prepare for the rest of their season?
Right. Me and my agent, we're actually, really kind of close. And he kind of, just tells me the same things I've been telling you. That I just got to worry about them now, worry about getting better, worry about staying in shape. So when it's time to be ready, I'm going to be ready. So, he's got everything with the NBA stuff kind of in the works. He's putting it together, but I'm just doing what I do on my end, which is the basketball thing. He's doing all the other behind the scenes stuff. So we don't really talk too much about, teams or, interviews and stuff like that. I let him handle all that. I just, control the controllables. That's what I can really do.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a crazy time.
Yeah,
Um, just to be in right now. It's such a weird, draft process. There's really no pre-draft.
right.
Not too many like trainers and stuff doing pre-draft workouts and different things like that. Just because there's really no gyms open.
Yeah,
I have a buddy in LA who was about to start a pre-draft, and every gym in LA just got shut down yesterday. So that had to get canceled. So it's just such a weird time right now to especially try and be in the draft. Try and stay in shape. But for those of you who don't know Elijah that well, his senior year of high school, he played on a team at South Kent with Elijah, Tremont Waters, Miles Powell, and Matt Moyer. Thinking about that team, it seems like it wasn't even that fair. You guys obviously had you had Tremont Waters. For those of you who don't know Tremont, he was Rookie of the Year this past year in the G League. Miles Powell is first team All American this year in college, considered the best shooting guard in the country this year for college. And Matt's going to play at George Washington next year. So can you talk to me a little bit about that team and kind of what your role was on that team?
right. My that team, first of all, it kind of put in my head that I can play at the highest level with anybody. Just practicing against those guys every single day. Having to switch onto a ball screen and guard Tremont, having to chase Miles off screens. Having to fight Matt on the board. So it was just kind of prove to people that I could play the highest level and prove to myself, most importantly, I could play the highest level. And bro, it was awesome, bro. Like the memories we had that from my 1 year there was just unbelievable. Like I could sit here for hours and talk about that, but our team dynamic was great. We all loved each other. We're still in contact. We still had a group chat. We talked daily. It was great. It was awesome, but it really helped my confidence a lot. I really proved to myself that I could play with these top guys. I belong in that conversation. So just playing with guys really helped build my confidence and helped got me prepared as well.
Exactly. Tremont, he's in the bubble right now with the Celtics. So hopefully we'll be able to see him get some time on the court this year. But how many games did you guys even lose with that team?
Early, with a team that much talent, it's hard
Yeah.
to figure out your role, figure out
Right.
where you fit. So we lost a few. That not one. It is what it is. But as the season went along, we started to figure it out. I started to figure it out personally that I gotta bend and I just gotta make plays and make shots. If I do that on this team, that I'm gonna help us win games. So and then Tremont's gonna be Tremont. Miles is gonna be Miles. Matt's gonna be Matt. That was kind of that fourth guy that a lot of teams don't have. A lot of teams have three, maybe two guys. And to find that fourth guy who can get quality minutes and good put up good numbers on consistent night was huge for me.
So are you saying you were like the fourth option on that team?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. I was gonna say, so was it hard to get shots, with those other guys, or did you guys play pretty unselfishly?
It was not hard at all. Especially we got a lot of smart guys on the team. Like we got Tremont. He's in my opinion, the best guard in the country at the time. We had a Gatorade player, Matt Moyer, and then we had a top shooting guard in the country, Miles Powell, and they all just made the right play. So it made my job much easier just to continue to make the right play. So no really struggle with shots. Some guys had their days, some guys didn't. That's how basketball goes, and we just played so well together.
So, I talked a little bit about this earlier, but you were originally committed to Eastern Carolina, played there for 1 year. Do you feel that you were under recruited? And, do you feel that going to Eastern Carolina for 1 year kind of helped to get you to where you are today?
Right. Honestly, I got people ask me that question a lot, like why ECU or, things like that. Were you under recruited? My thing is, bro, I just love basketball. ECU, they throughout the recruiting process, so I felt comfortable. And that's another thing too. I felt comfortable. So, I don't really look at it as under recruited, over recruited. I love basketball. So I felt comfortable. I went there, things didn't work out, decided to transfer. Just went from there. It was never really I want to prove people wrong or I want to do this after third. I just love playing basketball. That's what I love to do and love to compete. So it didn't work out, but I'm glad things worked out the way it did in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Did you know when you decided to transfer, did you know that you were going to get, such high major looks like Syracuse? And I remember you saying you were close to going to Seton Hall and some other schools, but did you think that you were going to have these big time offers after only averaging like 7 or 8 points, at ECU?
At South Kent, those pickup games, we had our runs during the preseason, and all of the Coach K, Coach Calipari, Coach Tony Bennett, Coach Boeheim, Coach Jay Wright, a bunch of these coaches were coming to our open gyms, And they kind of would always leave, ask like, who was that number 20 kid, whose kid? And I didn't think that they would remember me, or they would, what I'm saying, like really have an idea of me in the transfer portal. But a lot of them to schools did. Like Virginia reached out. Seton Hall, Seton Hall, a lot of people don't know was like I was a lock. I didn't, it was pretty much I was going there, and that's just what it was. And but then Coach Bam called me, and the rest is history. So
Yeah.
yeah, but to answer your question, I kind of didn't really have idea who would come in contact with me.
I was going to ask, so how long after you decommitted from ECU or put your name in the transfer portal or whatever, did someone from the Syracuse staff reach out to you?
Maybe like 3-4 days.
Yeah.
3 or 4 days, yeah.
And who was it, Red or GMAC?
Coach Red, Coach Red called. He actually called me while I was packing my dorm up, and then he had told me that Coach Bram's gonna call me later that night. And we talked for about 30-40 minutes, and I wanted to take a visit. But to be honest, I took my visit to Seton Hall, like going into like whatever. I went home, and then I took my first visit to Seton Hall, and it was that, like I said, it was kind of like a lock. Like I didn't really need to go anywhere else. I didn't do anything else. I was going to Seton Hall. But I was like, I'm gonna take the visit to Syracuse. I'm gonna go look at it, talk to coach, see what he says, and whatever. We'll go from there. Ended up, falling in love with Syracuse and what they do. And what really attracted me was that all the coaches there play for Coach Boeheim, so they know, they understand. So it's easier for us to relate to them and vice versa, because they know what to expect from coach.
Yeah, exactly. Especially working with GMAC so much and him telling us all those stories of him playing 30, 38, 40 minutes for coaching and things like that. But let's get to it. Your career at Syracuse, we're there for 3 years. Can you talk to me a little bit about your redshirt year? How hard was that year for you? How hard was it for you to stay motivated, knowing that, that you were never going to play?
Right. I mean, you probably know better than a lot of people about my redshirt. I get into it, but I was really maturing year for me. I've kind of, I had some bumps in the road, but late toward our redshirt, I kind of figured out, I got to lock in and still play. And it was hard, like you said, it was really hard. There'll be games we lose by 4 or 6 points, and I'm not saying I'm gonna go in there and score 20, but I know myself, and I know I can get us over the hump sometimes. But that's just the way the ball spins, and the rules we gotta go by. But it was definitely really hard. But I just try to stay motivated, stay focused, and I just wanted to make it impact however way I could in my time.
So I don't know if you remember, but I think it was like December or January of that year, and we were talking, and whether you knew it or not, I was always keeping tabs on you just because I'd always seen the potential that you had. And I remember one day kind of just coming up to you and I said something. I think it was like, bro, like you're blowing it. Like you're not doing as much as you need to be doing, and you need to be working harder because you can be such a special player someday. And that's just because I thought you weren't taking advantage of your redshirt year. But I always thought that you were going to be great, and that's why I said that to you. But for all the guys listening, if you're lucky enough to have a redshirt year, I think it helps a lot, and I don't think enough people take advantage of it. I've been around a bunch of guys who have redshirted, and I feel like none of them have taken advantage of it as they should be. You're never going to play, so why not work out 3, 4, 5 hours a day? Because the games come, you can be tired. Who cares? There's videos of Zion early in the year, he's falling asleep on the bench. So obviously it's tough because you're never going to play, but that redshirt year, it can help a lot of people, and it helped you. Once you turned it around in December and January, you started working out a ton, and that's why you've had such a good career the past 2 years. You spent way more time in the gym and working out with Ryan in the weight room. And, I was really happy to see that. So can you just talk about that a little bit, how you just turned it around and you kind of changed your work ethic and things like that?
Well, like you said, we had actually coach let me go home for Christmas break for a couple of days because I wasn't really playing. So he let me go home. And, I was talking to my parents, I didn't really think too much of, not that I didn't think too much of basketball, but at the time, I wasn't really as focused as I needed to be. I didn't see what people seen in myself, if I could have said. So I guess, my parents talked to me and told me, like, I got to lock in, all the nonsense I was lock in. Let's take advantage of it. So that when I got back in January to school, I worked out with Jerry. He said that was my best workout I've had my whole rest year. So I was just focused and I was pushing through. And from that moment on, I just kind of flipped the script. And obviously, I'm in college. I'm 19. I'm having fun, but there's also level of focus you have to have as a high level athlete. And I just kind of just stayed locked in since. And I just stayed in the gym. I would go shoot late at night with some teammates, and I just really put all my focus into basketball.
How hard was it, to watch that year, especially towards the end of the year, making that Sweet 16 run we had and that video of, Tyus hitting that step back and you're courtside right there, pumping your fist. Was it hard to watch that team? I know you probably want to be out there so bad.
For sure. Every kid's dream is playing in March Madness and to make those historical Cinderella story runs. But as hard as it was, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, man, that was super fun. Like, I had so much fun because that was my first time traveling. I got to travel with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the team, but I was able to travel. So I was able to get my first look at, like, how we go on the road. And, we're taking charter planes and, we got hotels. Like, it was a lot of fun. Like, I've never really experienced anything like that. So, I really tried to enjoy it. I had a lot of fun. But again, the other side of it, it kind of hurt because, we beat Arizona State. That was awesome to me. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Flew to Detroit, beat TCU, beat Michigan State. I went to Omaha, and it was just a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, but it was super hard not to be able to play. But I was super proud. Like, a lot of guys in the locker room after that loss against Duke, a lot of guys were sad, upset, broken. The real competitor sucks to lose, but I've never been more proud of a group than I was, of that 2017 group, and I was just so happy to be a part of that team and help, even if it was a distant practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was such a special team. Right. Obviously every year we have our ups and downs, but that next year, what did you think your role was going to be? Everyone thought Tyus was leaving for the draft. He decided to come back, at the last minute, the very last day, he decided to come back. What did you think your role was going to be? Everyone thought that you were going to be the guy that year, and then, with Tyus coming back, people didn't really know what to expect from you, if you were going to get minutes or not. But can you just talk a little bit about that?
Right. Well, coach's recruiting pitch to me was that the year I sit out, that was going to be Tyus' last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the year he had a tremendous year his sophomore year. So I honestly thought he was leaving. I thought he was leaving, but he ended up staying. Yeah, I think he made the best decision for him at the time. And I saw going into the year I was able to play. I didn't think I would start, to be honest with you. Marek was coming off a great run he had his freshman year. O'Shea returned. We had our whole starting five back.
Yeah, so the whole starting five coming back.
So it was hard
from a Sweet 16 team.
Exactly. So it was hard for me to imagine that I'll be getting minutes, and not minutes, but in the starting five. And so yeah, it was just kind of like I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what really my role would be because it was just weird. So first couple games, I kind of see how it was going. I'll kind of be at third guard. Was in there making shots, attacking closeouts, not doing too much with the ball, but be ready to play off closeout or off a down screen or something like that, or spot up, make shots. So that was kind of my role. I shot it well from three, and yeah, it was a fun team. We got to the tournament. Unfortunately we lost first round to Baylor, but it is what it is. But that time, my role was kind of just that spot up guy, make threes, and things like that. It's like things like that.
Yeah, you still had some huge monster games that year, even though you weren't the first option like you were this year. But obviously, I got to ask, favorite memory of that year. Obviously, people say the Duke game, that three-quarter court shot. Did you think it was going in? What did you think when you shot that?
Well, as soon as I left my hands, I knew it was good. Like, as soon as I let go of it, I knew it was going in. It was either going in or hitting the back of the rim and going up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was not just that shot, but that game. Like, that game was nothing like I've ever experienced in my whole entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the greatest game I've ever been a part of. I had a headache for 3 days after Marek came back to Syracuse. His back was all messed up. I think Tyus was limping for a couple of days. It was just crazy. The environment was crazy.
Yeah, you had a monster first half. What people forget is that poster that you put RJ on. And I feel like that was kind of the play of the game that no one even talks about. That dunk was crazy. You put RJ in the rim. And like for some reason, no one talks about it. They talk about the three-quarter court shot and Marek taking a charge on Zion,
Right.
which are obviously two other huge plays. But that poster was crazy.
Yeah, that was that was just kind of a read. Me and Marek have had that connection since he's got here, that backdoor connection. I just kind of seen a little space, so I kind of just took off, and people know what happened next. So
Yeah. So fast forward to this year, Ty's declared, O'Shea declared, Frank and Pascal both graduated. What were your expectations for this year? What were your expectations for the team? Did you think you were going to be putting up, the numbers you did? You were averaging 25-5, for a majority of the season. It's unheard of in college basketball. What did you expect from yourself and from the team this year?
Right. Well, from that, we had after we lost to Baylor, we had our meeting, and then coach individual meeting. And, he kind of knew that I was the only one returning, so he told me the car is mine. It's time to drive, and I pretty much gave me the keys and was like go out there and do what you do. And that summer I probably had my best summer. I was super locked in. I could tell stories about me and Jerry, our workouts all summer, but I was so locked in. I was there the whole summer, and I kind of changed up my body with Ryan, and I just really dialed in. So, with that being said, I was just ready to go from the jump, and I was looking forward to it. My first time really being a leader. I haven't really been a leader ever on a team.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first time being a by example and vocal kind of guy, and it was a good year statistically wise, but I wish I could have did more.
Yeah, I feel like everyone wishes they could have done more. Started off the season a little rough, but then we picked it up towards ACC play, won like 4 or 5 straight, and then that last game of the year was probably the best we played all year. And I know we were looking forward to the Louisville game the next day. But can you talk about that UNC game quick? Did you hear at halftime that the NBA was suspended? Did someone tell you, or were you just so locked in on the game?
Yeah, I was locked in the game, but I think Bo had said that Rudy Gobert had tested positive.
Mm-hmm.
After heard that, I knew it was only a matter of seconds before the season was going to get canceled or put on pause or what. So, but we still had a whole another half of basketball to play. So my focus was still in the game. But I knew that as soon as we got back to the locker room or back to our hotel that the season was going to be canceled. It was going to be on pause or something like that.
Before that game, no one even really talked about it. Obviously, people were talking about coronavirus, but it was more overseas and stuff like that. No one's really talking about it in America. And then when Gobert tested positive, everything kind of just, shut down. And I remember even after the game ended, Brad and Ryan, everybody had gloves on, and they were telling everybody to shower, even if you didn't play. Everybody was just being super cautious.
Right.
And then the next day, we were actually about to leave for shoot around, and then we had got the text that, that the season was canceled or the game was canceled.
Right.
So, it was a crazy time, but, we're lucky that, we ended our, season on a victory like we did.
For sure.
But Elijah Hughes, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. Looking forward to the NBA draft, whenever that might be. Like I said, steal the draft here, 2020 draft, Elijah Hughes. Elijah, thanks so much.
Appreciate it, bro. No problem.